Another year in the books of mixed martial arts history, and to be honest, it's been a massive year for MMA. We've had some of the biggest and most spectacular events ever, and of course, we've got to hand out our end-of-year awards to those that deserve them. As always, we sent out the categories on Twitter to see what you guys thought, and so you could also vote on the entries. But also, we got some special MMA On Point categories that we've added for a bit of fun. And if we, the MMA On Point team, disagree with you, well, I'll be sure to let you know. I want to take a quick second as well to say a big thank you to all you guys for supporting us all year as well. A shout out to our Hall of Famers who've supported us that extra mile as well. Thank you guys. I'm Bailey and from MMA On Point, and these are the MMA On Point Awards 2024. Now over to Mr. Tommy Toehold, please.
Just kidding, it's the casual Lawton Veerkant. Jason thought he could fire me, but guess who's back? Let's look at the prospect of the year. And the nominees are Sharaputin Magomedov.
The full package of an awesome nickname, a wild look, and even wilder fight style. 2024 went perfectly for Shara Bullet. 3 wins and 2 finishes, and every one of them got him a bonus. He also ended the year inside the rankings.
Peyton Talbot.
It wasn't just that Talbot picked up 2 impressive finishes this year, it's also how many fans he won in the process and how clinical and effortless they looked.
Carlos Prates.
More active than most of the roster this year, Carlos Prates also knocked out 4 people in 2024 looking as scary as Alex Pereira, but welterweight.
Michael Morales.
17-0 now for the undefeated Ecuadorian knockout artist. We only got 1 performance this year, but it was so dominant, people are expecting massive things from this guy.
And the winner is Carlos Prates.
It wasn't a landslide win for Prates, but considering he got the most wins out of any of these other prospects, and they were all finishes, it's not surprising that 44% of you gave him the votes. I know Jason is on the Peyton Talbot hype train, but Prates looks like an absolute finisher.
Career comeback of the year. And the nominees are Francis Ngannou.
The KO loss suffered by Francis last year was absolutely devastating. To see him return to MMA and win easily silenced a lot of doubters.
Dominic Reyes.
This year, Reyes turned a 3-fight knockout streak loss into a 2-fight win streak, both of them by impressive KO. Everybody thought this guy's career was done.
Petr Yan.
After being champ, it was super surprising to see Yan go on a 3-fight losing streak, but in 2024, he broke it with 2 wins and an incredible performance against Davison Figueiredo.
Valentina Shevchenko.
Most champions who lose their belt never win it back, but Val took the win in the trilogy, and not only did she get it back, but she did it at 36 years old.
And the winner is Petr Yan.
Congratulations, after the year this man's had, it's not that surprising. He won by 35% of the vote, so it was kind of close. Over at MMA On Point, I think we're all on Dominic Reyes' side this year though. None of us saw him bouncing back, and what a return he's made to the sport.
Breakthrough Fighter of the Year. And the nominees are Dakota Ditcheva.
After the big PFL win, I feel like everyone knows her name now. She might even have put herself as the biggest new name outside of the UFC this year, and she won $1 million.
Tom Aspinall.
With John avoiding this fight, Tom certainly won over a massive international fan base this year. He was talked about publicly during John Jones Fight Week and also defended his interim title before John did the actual one.
Ilia Topuria.
From the start of the year till now, this guy has exploded in popularity. He also went from outside of the pound for pound to now being ranked at the very top. Those KOs over legends were incredibly impressive.
Diego Lopez.
For a lot of people, this guy is their new favorite fighter. He has an incredibly fun and entertaining style, and 3 big wins this year on 3 UFC pay-per-views got him tons of attention from new fans, and he's closing in at the top of the division.
And the winner is Ilia Topuria.
I think it's fair to say we are mostly in agreement. The performances of Topuria have just been too impressive for anyone to deny. He got 38% of the vote, but I'm sure that he won over a ton of you watching this video by KOing the 2 GOATs this year, even if it broke your heart.
Upset win of the year. The nominees are Rugrug versus Anatoly Malikin.
Most people had completely counted out Rugrug as a top fighter when he quit in a 1 fight. This year, he was as high as a minus 1200 underdog against the heavyweight champion, but he took it to him and impossibly won the title.
Anthony Smith versus Vitor Petrino.
The last few years have been a little rocky for the veteran Smith, but when he got the undefeated 11-0 Vitor Petrino in Brazil, he was a massive underdog, but in 2 minutes, he got a guillotine in a crazy, unexpected upset.
Gabriela Fernandez versus Kong Wang.
Top prospect Kong was shockingly submitted this year as a massive favorite against the unknown Gabriela Fernandez. Definitely one of the more surprising wins of the year.
Ayman Zahabi versus Javid Basharat.
The younger brother of Faraz continued his winning streak this year with one of the biggest statistical upsets inside the UFC, taking the O from one of the Basharat brothers.
And the winner is Anthony Smith versus Vitor Petrino.
Congratulations to Anthony Smith. I don't think many people gave him a chance in that fight. Again, this is another one the team felt a little differently on. 33% of you voted for Smith over Petrino, but I think because we covered the career of Rurug back in the day, we want to give him the award for an insane upset win, and to become champion, no one thought this guy was any good anymore.
Submission of the year. And the nominees are Khamzat Chimaev.
The win over Robert Whittaker was one of the more brutal submissions we've seen in recent years. It was also over a former champ and in the first round.
Paddy Pimblett.
The baddie definitely impressed a lot of fans with his first round finish of Bobby Green and landed in the rankings because of it.
Brian Ortega.
You can never count out Brian, and against Rodriguez this year, he was super hurt, but again, never quit and found a submission for the comeback win.
Stevie Ray.
This one warmed the heart for two reasons. One, because it was a modified twister, and two, because this was his retirement fight, and what a way to go out for this guy.
And the winner is Khamzat Chimaev.
Yep, we agreed with 62% of you as well. This was supposed to be a test for Khamzat, but instead it was just another flawless victory, and the submission itself was devastating. Everyone called for the title shot. He didn't get it, but 14-0, this man is looking so scary.
Knockout of the year. The nominees are Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill.
What some people had thought would be competitive was over in the first round with another clinical knockout, and the interaction with Herb Dean before had people talking about it even more.
Sharapoutin Magomedov.
This was an incredible KO we've never before seen in the UFC. I still don't know how many people will ever try it again, but definitely the most creative of the year.
Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway.
How could you argue with being the first guy to finish Max Holloway also while defending the title? This was a big KO win for Topuria this year.
Max Holloway versus Justin Gaethje.
In surely the most viral sequence of the year, and at the very last second, Holloway scored an absolutely legendary KO at UFC 300. I think everyone on the planet saw this one.
And the winner is Max Holloway.
Yeah, pretty hard to agree with this one. 79% of you voted for Max Holloway, which is more than anyone else won this year. Straight out of a movie. In a fight he was winning, points to the ground to throw down, risks it all, but gets the KO. Some people called it the greatest knockout of all time.
Fight of the year. And the nominees are Alex Pereira versus Khalil Roundtree.
There was a lot of excitement around this fight with two KO artists. Although it wasn't very competitive, Khalil was able to stand with Alex for 4 rounds, making it a fan favorite.
Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint-Denis.
In a classic old dog versus new guy matchup, Dustin put on a vintage performance to weather the storm and get a jaw-dropping KO against the streaking BSD.
Daniel Zellhuber versus Esteban Ribovic.
For Mexican independence at the Sphere, two South American phenoms had a non-stop war that absolutely brought the house down, and it came down to the wire with a split decision.
Cub Swanson versus Billy Quarantillo.
Right at the end of the year, we got an absolute banger, didn't we? Former Fight of the Year winner and hardcore fan hero Cub Swanson put on a classic performance against Billy Quarantillo, who was there to dance every step of the way until it ended spectacularly.
And the winner is Daniel Zellhuber versus Esteban Ribovic.
Yeah, not surprising at all, really. If this was your favorite fight of the year, it was absolute non-stop insanity. We actually ran the numbers on this vote twice, though, and this one came up first with 40%, with Pereira Roundtree right behind it. First time we did it, though, Pereira Roundtree won.
Female Fighter of the Year. The nominees are Valentina Shevchenko.
Winning back her title past the age of decline was probably about as good as the year could possibly get for Valentina. She only got one fight in, but it's incredibly impressive what she achieved this year.
Zhang Weili.
The one fight Zhang had happened to be on the biggest card of the year, and it was an incredible performance from the champ that showed she is still one of the best pound-for-pound women on the planet.
Chris Cyborg.
The return of Cyborg this year came against the last woman to beat Kayla Harrison, Larissa Pachenko, in a super fight of women's championships in the PFL. Cyborg took the decision, proving she is again the best outside the UFC.
Dakota Ditcheva.
Winning $1 million means you had a good year already, but breaking through as a star while taking out top competition in Tyler Santos was also equally impressive by Dakota Ditcheva.
And the winner is Zhang Weili.
Holding on to a title for over 2 years now, 37% of you thought that her one performance over Yan Xiaonan was enough to make her Female Fighter of the Year. She does look the most dominant out of all the female champions right now as well.
Male Fighter of the Year. And the nominees are Alexandre Pantoja.
The Brazilian champ banked 2 more title defenses this year against new challengers. He was thrown some wild cards but came out with a dominant performance in both.
Alex Pereira.
Stonehands put on 3 dominant title defenses this year and also took some risks in the process, accepting a short notice one at 303 in order to save the event, and he scored a knockout in each win.
Ilia Topuria.
Getting to be a divisional GOAT is a good achievement, but to knock out two of them in the same year is something few fighters ever do in an entire career. Ilia put away Volkanovski and Holloway and is now ranked number 4 pound for pound.
Dricus du Plessis.
The South African faced two tough title challenges this year, and again, although neither one was easy, he came out on top in both on a 10-fight win streak.
And the winner is Alex Pereira.
Quite a big margin. Alex won by 63%. I think the fans really appreciated him showing up in the year when the UFC needed him to. The team here at MMA On Point, though, we think Ilia Topuria should get Fighter of the Year. Those two KOs were just against such great champions, but both men had spectacular 2024s. Okay, so now it's time for some of our very own MMA On Point Awards.
Pre-fight stare down of the year. The nominees are Francis Ngannou versus Renan Fahea.
When these two finally came head-to-head, the reality of Francis returning to MMA was real. They were both massive, and this one was super intense.
Israel Adesanya versus Dricus du Plessis.
Every time these guys came face-to-face, it was super tense. They obviously had a lot of animosity towards each other. Definitely one of the best rivalries of the year.
Alex Pereira versus Khalil Roundtree.
These two guys did not break eye contact for almost an entire 3 minutes before their fight. I don't think Alex even blinks. This was so intense. We were all super pumped.
Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad.
I love how they both take off their sunglasses for this one. Intense between the two. Crowd is chanting, and Leon even tried to make him flinch at the end.
And the winner is Alex Pereira and Khalil Roundtree.
Honestly, this was unlike anything we'd ever seen. Those two were so locked into each other before this one. Gave us chills. Also, you got to give a shout out to the stare down with Yuri as well in the rematch, because that was intense. Have to give an honourable mention to Paul Craig and Bo Nickel. Paul was trying to psych him out. And Ian Gary and Neil Magny. You know, Neil looked like he wanted to kill Ian at that stare down. Also, shout out to Craig Jones and Gabby Garcia, just because that all happened this year as well.
Short notice win of the year. The nominees are Gene Silva versus Drew Dober.
The UFC newcomer took a 2-week short notice fight up a weight class against Dober, but with the performance he put on, it made sense and people loved George Silva after it.
Alex Pereira versus Jiri Prochazka 2.
When the return of Conor McGregor fell apart on short notice, there was only one person who could come close to filling that spot, and Pereira was happy to do it, getting a KO as well in the process.
Brandon Royval versus Brandon Moreno.
Risking his place in the division, Royval went to Mexico City at altitude and won out a tough decision, lining himself up for a title shot.
Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Dennis Bondar.
A new star in the making, Lazy Boy Ronaldo made his UFC debut this year on short notice and picked up a rear naked choke in round 2 and new fans as well.
And the winner is Alex Pereira versus Jiri Prochazka 2.
Alex risked his belt and went home with another highlight reel knockout, also, as everyone says, saving the card in the process.
Trash Talk Line of the Year. And the nominees are Dustin Poirier.
Islam and Dustin had a highly anticipated fight this year, and the Diamond was taking his title shot seriously and dropped a stone-cold line.
He should listen to his coaches and box like they're telling him to. Do that, Islam. Let's box.
This is not boxing, this is MMA, man.
Well, you're going to sleep like it's boxing.
Merab Dvalishvili.
This year, Merab has been pretty hilarious with his trash talk, and the community absolutely loved this exchange with Umar.
You and Islam have shared so many memories together. I want to know, what's your best moment with him?
About Islam, he all the
About
time.
jacuzzi. You can come.
I was not there.
Dricus du Plessis.
If you paid any attention to the beef between Izzy and Strickland, you'll know that the guy brought up Israel's dog. Safe to say Adesanya wasn't happy about it, but he also himself couldn't help but laugh when DDP said this at their press conference.
When did I become the underdog?
You know, it's a pick'em. It's very...
Nobody said anything about dogs, bro. Chill out.
Alexander Volkanovski.
No one expected old man Volk at the press conference, and some of the things he said were just gold up against Ilia's incredibly serious demeanor.
Shut the fuck up. Shut up, dude. Shut up.
I think this old man needs
Shut up.
this young fella a lesson. What do you reckon?
Look how you look. As an old man.
Get a good spanking, that's what's gonna happen, hey?
And the winner is Merab Dvalishvili.
Just a savage line from Merab, and to be honest, hilarious. I know Tom Ransom loves that picture. Whenever he can use it, he does, so we could not go with this one. Also, bonus shout out to Chael Sonnen's kid for absolutely roasting him this year as well.
Biggest arm in Westland. Look at that, son.
Why is that?
You tell me.
Have you ever heard Chael Sonnen, the one that's the weakest person in Westland?
What?
fighter who gained the most from a loss. And the nominees are Ian Gary.
Ian took a risk fighting Shavkat, putting his undefeated streak on the line, and although he didn't get the win, he had a great performance and has turned around a lot of the fan base.
Khalil Roundtree.
Even in losing to Alex Pereira, Roundtree was given a standing ovation by the crowd at the end of the night after a gutsy, warrior-like performance.
Dan Ige.
50k Ige stepped up on a few hours' notice this year to fight Diego Lopez. Fans thought it was just a badass thing to do. Even if he lost, he still put on a good fight.
And the winner is Khalil Roundtree.
Absolutely, Khalil gained himself a whole bunch of fans this year after his title fight against Pereira. He stood and traded with him, took a bunch of punishment, but kept on fighting, refused to quit, and won tons of respect from the fans of the process.
Shtick of the year. And the nominees are Old Man Volk.
If you didn't see it before his fight with Topuria, Volkanovski did a promotional skit where he pretends to be old and past it, as that's what fans have been saying. It was hilarious, and he brought it to the press conference. I mean, he pretended to fall asleep, guys.
To be in Spain, and yes, I've always fought against the crowd. I've always fought on the road.
Chiwiwi.
Okay, I still don't really know what this means, but for some reason this year, the Chiwiwis took over, and Raul Rosas Jr.'s shtick might be weird, but it's become infectious.
Where's John?
Tom really experimented with content this year, and his skit about looking for John Jones was hilarious.
There he is, we've got him. John!
Merab the Professor.
Lessons from Professor Merab were so good we couldn't wait for the next one. His breakdowns of how the UFC really works were just too spot on at times.
I will avenge my loss and call out number 885 Frankie Science out of the retirement.
And the winner is Old Man Volk.
This was not only so satirically perfect, but so well done by Volk, who absolutely nailed the character and the comedy. Everyone who saw it loved it. I hope he does more. Also, bonus shout out to Derek Lewis, whose shorts came off again in St. Louis.
And our final and most important award, Lolcow of the Year. And the nominees are Juliana Pena.
It has to be on purpose that Pena spent the whole year saying incendiary things and making outrageous claims. Either that or she's being quite delusional. The fan base, though, definitely got a few laughs out of her claims this year.
Jamal Hill.
Hill's moment with Pereira at the UFC PI had him on the end of a lot of people's jokes, especially because he didn't want to put on the gloves but was happy to talk trash.
And the winner is Jamal Hill.
Salty is probably the best word to describe Jamal Hill's 2024, but it was also hard not to laugh at him this year as well. I mean, he was complaining about the loss at 300 and then threatening to knock out Pereira online after just being slept himself, and then ended up not wanting to throw on the gloves when they did come face to face as well. Either way, he took a few swings and had a lot of misses this year, so the Lolcow award goes to him. All right, everybody, that's it for our MMA Awards 2024. Congratulations to everybody if you won an award. If you disagreed with any of the awards that went out, let us know down below. That's what it's there for. Shout out to the editor of this video, Luke Taylor. Thank you for putting the awards video together, mate. We very much appreciate it. Guys, give him some love if you haven't. He's been making videos all year. This is his social media at @cooltomeet_. Go show him some love. Thank you to our Hall of Famers, guys. Thanks for supporting us. Those of you who have been here all year as well, super special thank you to you. If you want to join him, guys, you can click the link down below. Check him out. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, guys, as well, or subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. But yeah, it's been a cracking year here at MMA On Point. We hope you enjoy the award show. Always nice to recap the year, isn't it? And let us know down below who you've got on your own awards. If there was an award you wanted to give out that maybe we didn't, that's fine as well. But from me to you, thank you guys for watching. I've been Alex, or Balian all year pretty much, and I'll be here in the next year. So thank you guys. Appreciate you. We will see you in the next one.